Lester Holt, who is the nightly news anchor over at NBC News, Lester Holt was given the Edward R. Murrow Award. And in the middle of his speech, he announced that he was no longer going to try to bother to cover both sides of any particular issue, because some sides are true and some sides are false. This is the way that people on the left will massage themselves into never having to grant the credibility of another side even existing.
Okay, let me just get this eyeliner on here a little bit. I'm going to need to smudge that in a little. Okay. Yeah, that is interesting. I mean, but are we surprised? I mean, like, I don't know. Like, the traditional media, like, they're the information equivalent of a brothel. They're for sale. Not even a nice brothel, you know, not even one with skilled purveyors of the trade. So, like, are we surprised? But let's hear what this media whore has to say.
This is dangerous stuff, in other words. When you have a media that is fully bought into the idea that it is, quote unquote, both sidesism to actually represent both sides of a particular issue, then that's the media just excusing its own partisanship. Now, if the media wants to be partisan, that is totally fine. That is their prerogative. They can be partisan. We're partisan here at Daily Wire. I'm a partisan host. I don't make any bones about it. The difference is I'm not dishonest about it. Members of our establishment media are. They are hijacking an institution, the institution of, quote unquote, objective media, and they are doing so on behalf of the left in order to vitiate the power of the right in the societal discourse.
But are they? Okay, I'm no fan of the media, but just like Ben Shapiro admits his partisanship, okay, I admit I'm not a huge watcher of CNN or MSNBC or any of that, but do they actually deny they're partisan? I mean, obviously Fox doesn't, and I've always just thought like the rest of them were just kind of like the opposite of Fox. Just in the other direction, except for maybe CNN. I think they like try to pretend that they're unbiased, but like MSNBC, I don't know. I mean, it's I really, you know, unless they're pretending that they're nonpartisan, buyer beware, listener beware. Just like when you're listening with Ben Shapiro, beware, they are coming from a viewpoint, and I think it's healthy to listen to a lot of different viewpoints. But did we expect any different? I mean, is this some great revelation? Now, it does raise a lot of very interesting issues as to whether when you're just shilling for a particular party, not even a particular point of view, like a progressive point of view or a conservative point of view, but outright for a particular party, if we're going to have these election laws and FEC and all that, don't you think that this is some kind of in-kind contribution when you're shilling openly for the Republican or Democratic Party? I do.
Here's Lester Holt basically undermining journalism.
I think it's become clearer that fairness is overrated. Well, before you run off and tweet that headline, let me explain a bit. The idea that we should always give two sides equal weight and merit does not reflect the world we find ourselves in. That the sun sets in the west is a fact. Any contrary view does not deserve our time or attention. Providing an open platform for misinformation, for anyone to come say whatever they want, especially when issues of public health and safety are at stake, can be quite dangerous.
Now, listen, there do have to be limits to what you think should be reported, because you can't report literally every view on every single issue. There's just not time. But the problem here is that when innate bias comes in, when inherent bias comes in, the sort of confirmation bias that you see in the media all the time, the natural tendency for people on the left is to assume that everybody on the right is saying stuff that is not true and everybody on the left is telling you the truth.
I'm trying to dry my eyes here. My wet eyeliner. Yeah, okay. You don't have all the time in the world to cover every particular point of view. True. But yeah, it is dangerous, in fact, to pretend like there are no other sides. that you don't try to give other sides. That one side is just obviously right. With that attitude, how will you ever allow yourself to hear contrary information? I mean, it used to be, a lot of things used to just be accepted wisdom. We could go real far back and go, it used to be accepted wisdom that you had these humors in the body and, you got sick because you had too much bile or too much this or too much that. Well, if you never allowed yourself to question that, how would you ever know you were wrong? I give this example a lot, and a lot of people think I'm crazy. To go back to the flat earth thing. When I first found out there were people who were seriously flat earth, because I used to think it was just like the birds aren't real thing, I said, okay, well, I'm going to listen to them and hear them out. And I spent a lot of time watching flat earth videos because I wanted to hear what they had to say. There was enough people that, didn't look like, they thought they were Napoleon or whatever the crazy example might be, that I wanted to hear what they had to say. I think they kind of have delusions of grandeur now that I know it a little better, but I wanted to hear it so that I could, rather than just going, it's obviously on its face ridiculous, to know why it's ridiculous. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And Lester Holt seems to be saying there's obviously something wrong with that. And when public health, Lester, I know you think that we can't research things for ourselves and that we don't have our own bullshit detectors and that we need you, the anointed class, because what would we do if you weren't the gatekeepers for us? That wasn't a mic drop. That was an eyeglass drop. The arrogance is just like, no, you want to know what, Lester? I think public health is more in danger when you suppress knowledge, because unlike it seems to be today, science is never subtle. That's kind of the purpose of science, right? That you should be able to question and be able to reform your particular views. So, yeah, how are you ever going to do that? My little monitor here went out. One sec. There we go. Hopefully that'll come back up. Yeah, so how are you going to challenge and change and learn, Are we going to now have, heresy trials, scientific heresy trials? So, yeah. I think there's a common sense to it, and that it is beholding upon us to give other points of view and point out why we think they are wrong, not to just simply say they're wrong. Because you want to know what is more dangerous than open misinformation? It is suppressed misinformation, because the minute you tell people they can't hear this for their own good, what's the first thing they're going to want to do? They're going to want to hear it. And if you don't have open discussion, you're not going to have open and intelligent rebuttal of this stuff. Right? And I am trying to get the comments back up because I told you that one screen went. Let me put my glasses on because I'm going blind here. That one screen went down. Let me see if I can. Here we go. Okay, I'm got the comments back. So yeah, the arrogance of the media just makes me want to vomit in my mouth.
By the way, James Clyburn, he's admitting that this infrastructure bill, this $2 trillion infrastructure bill, contains no infrastructure. Here he is explaining.
It has to do with educating our children. It has to do with taking care of the elderly. I don't understand. We aren't Eskimos. We aren't going to be carrying our elderly people out.
Is that infrastructure? That's what I'm saying. And does it blur the line so that you're losing support you might otherwise get if you kept it just focused on that?
It says the American Jobs Plan. The American Jobs Plan. This is all about jobs. It's not just about building buildings.
Okay, so in other words, yeah, this is just us spending a buttload of money. And Democrats are all for it. Why not? There are no limits.
Well, I found it interesting that he said, "We're not Eskimos." Well, how did that slip attention? Are you doing an ethnic slur? What is it? You're saying that, like, I didn't even know what he meant. He seemed to be implying like Eskimos like leave their old people out to die or something. Wow. Where's the call to cancel for the Eskimo hate? I mean, that was just such a weird comment. We're not Eskimos. What the hell is that supposed to mean? I don't get that one. But, you know, it's the left, and they're allowed to say shit like that. Yeah, I really did mix up all these clips, so I hope you guys don't mind bouncing around from topic to topic. Yes, I love this comment. I love this comment, Giraffe. Let me put it up. But people are stupid and may draw dangerously incorrect ideological conclusions if wrongthink is allowed a platform. I know. That's exactly it. Your overlords know what is best for you. You ungrateful wench.
And that is generally a lie. It is generally a lie. The Biden administration has been lying like a rug since they entered office, and yet they've been given all the credibility that is unwarranted. And yet, if you take an opposing point of view, then this is treated as somehow misinformation. And the natural result of this is silencing. This is why Facebook and Instagram have now non-personed Trump, according to the UK Daily Mail. Facebook and Instagram have actually removed a Donald Trump interview with his daughter-in-law, Lara, in another sign of the left-leaning Silicon Valley giants canceling the former president. In the interview, Trump tore into social media and the mainstream media for suppressing the Hunter Biden laptop story. He criticized President Biden's green agenda and railed against cancel culture, which he said obliterates U.S. culture. He did this for The Right View, which is Lara's show. During the 18-minute interview, Trump also spoke about running for president again in 2024. Lara had been promoting it on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter beforehand. At 9:26 p.m. on Tuesday night, 4 minutes before it was due to be uploaded, Facebook emailed Lara's team warning them it would be removed if it went live. At 9:51 p.m., they emailed again to say they had taken it down. Trump has been banned from Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram since the January 6th riots, cut off from his supporters, unable to get messages to them in the way he did before.
Yeah, that is crazy. So now not only is Trump banned, but you can't even interview him. If these companies have the power to unperson, that was the correct term, somebody like that. That is crazy. Remember that Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, Running Man? I mean, I used to think about this quite a bit. You know, if the government really wanted to get you, think of just how easy it would be just to tell everyone that you did something terrible. If they can unperson you, they can make you anything. I don't care how you feel about Trump. I defended Alex Jones when he was deplatformed, and I don't carry a torch for Alex Jones. But that's not the point, and that's not the way principles work either. Principles are principles whether or not you like the person whose rights are being infringed. But that is absolutely scary. And I realized that I didn't make any comment at all on the infrastructure thing. That is crazy. Why are you lying? It's not infrastructure. Everything is infrastructure when... Nothing is infrastructure when everything is infrastructure. That's crazy. Okay, Biden. My carpet's getting like a little bit crappy in here. That's infrastructure, and you need to pay for a new carpet. Make my life better. It's wild. It's like crack addicts at a cocaine factory. It's just, words fail me, and words very rarely fail me.